Oh, hi there. I'm glad I'm actually here to talk to you today with my Who Would Win because I was afraid I was gonna have to do this on the phone. For some reason, my camera my webcam was being a little what I have a little insight into here real quick is that I have something like a CyberLink UCam essentially is what it's saying right up there. So that's essentially the brand, and it has a logo, and then it cuts, and I get the actual image on the screen. Well, it wasn't going to the image on the screen. It was just just was going with the logo of CyberCam. I'm like, am I going to have to start doing these on the phone until I figure out what's going on here? Luckily, I restarted the computer, and it all works out now. I digress, though. So, this one comes to us from... Actually, this was going to be the one brought to you by Killer Foxy, but Killer Foxy, you're going to have to specify who the Poppy is, because I put that into YouTube, and no one specific came up. So that annoying orange versus the Poppy isn't going to happen until you can specify who the Poppy is. So instead we move over to... excuse me. Ugh. Again, I'm getting over something. Shadow King, who asked the question, who won the fight? Madara Uchiha versus Kizaru Barsalino. I might be mispronouncing that name, but he's the guy who ate the... What was it? What was the fruit? It was the light. It was basically the light lifer. He basically can turn himself into light and move at light speed and things along those lines. CS asked a question, who would win that fight? So when looking at these guys, I've had Madara on here I think once or twice. Trust me, I got a lot of flack on that Madara versus Aizen video, and maybe I could have done a little, explain my perspective a little better and changed a few things up. I still stand by what I said in those videos, though, so you can argue with me all you want on that. But Madara was one of the founders of the Hidden Leaf Village, and considered to be one of the strongest shinobi, of his time, and in all ninja history in the Naruto universe. Like easily in the top 10. Probably in the top 5. But he was born and raised basically on the battlefield. I think he died somewhere in his 20s. So he spent a minimum a decade, maybe even 2 decades, just living in and on the battlefield. I think he died like somewhere in his 30s. And you know what? That's a good question. Oh, man. Sorry, I had a bit of a snack earlier and something got caught in my throat. Madara Uchiha. How old was Madara Uchiha overall? Let's see, age-wise. Let's see here now. Let's just see here. Okay, then. Gave us deceased. No, they usually give us ages, but damn it, something's getting caught in my throat. It's not really, it's not giving me age, his age or anything like that, like, ever. If given his look, he had to have been, if not in his 30s, then in his late 20s. He was in his prime condition when he died. And he lived quite a long time, surpassing a lot of individuals. He was useless at that point, but he lived for quite some time. But even at his peak, he lived decades of war. So he was a master in hand-to-hand combatant, master tactician, master ninjutsu user. He was a fire user. We're going to use 2 different incarnations, by the way, of Madara. We're going to use the standard human one, because if we use Edo Tensei, then Kizu. Gotta get that guy up right now so I don't have to keep butchering his name. And so I can actually have his information right on right on call. His name is Kizaru. There it is. Kizaru Barsalino. So Barsalino, do we have an age on him? Okay, thank you. This guy's in his 50s. So he is older than the oldest non-Edo Tensei or non-elder form of Madara. So you could make an argument he may even have a lot more experience in combat and battlefield than even Madara does. But should be noted that he I wish these damn sites wouldn't be so slow sometimes. He is not a warrior. He's an admiral. In fact, that means he probably spends a lot of his time not on the battlefield. Now, that being said, when he goes into the battlefield, he is an immensely devastating opponent, but we'll get into him when we'll get into it. Point being, going back to Madara, raised on the battlefield, expert in every form of weaponry they had in the Naruto world. Swords, kunai, his war fan, hammers, sickles, you name it, he could use it masterfully. Obviously, he has ninjutsu, including things along the lines of he was a master of fire jutsu user among anything else, because the Uchiha were all fire jutsu users, including things like that fire wall. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's like that blazing wall of fire. He basically shot out of his mouth. He also, but really one of the big things he ever used was, and to be fair, I'm not going to use his ability to use wood release, because that's not something he initially had. I'm using the living Madara without First Hokage's genes, and I'm going to use 6 Sage Madara. So basically, at his living, his peak, and at his and when he came back and got stronger, his godlike stats. So anywho, I just blanked. Sorry. He has his Sharingan, which he mastered. Genjutsu, perception of techniques, movements, things along those lines. Can copy ninjutsu, genjutsu, taijutsu, but that doesn't mean it's not going to matter much in this fight. It means he could still probably copy Barsalino's movements, but he couldn't capture, and nothing like his light techniques. Then he scaled up. He's got his Mange Kyo, which I don't know if that meteor technique was part of his Mange Kyo. I think it was, because he had to use Susanoo for that. But his Mange Kyo, or possibly Eternal Mange Kyo, depending on how he was really doing that. 1 second. Making sure on something. Okay. Depending on what he was actually using while using that, allows him to use his Susanoo, which doesn't have the Yata mirror, and it doesn't have the Sealing Sword, but it does have like that third, because there was like 3 treasures of the deity Susanoo in Japanese lore. Can't remember the third one, but both him and Itachi both use it. I'm guessing it's like the ranged attack. It's basically beads of energy, and he throws it outwards, and they're quite destructive. But he can also bring down the meteorites. He can bring more than one down at a time. His Susanoo alone is just a mass of pure energy and chakra. It's very difficult to get through, even in base form. Then if he goes into his full Master Susanoo, he literally just raises the earth itself. And that thing was one of the most beast things ever done in that series. Like, in terms of just a pure display of power, that was one of the most devastating things ever shown. And then Sasuke took it one step further. And then Naruto and Sasuke even took one step further when they cloaked the Kyuubi in that, but this is a different thing entirely. I'm sure someone will give me a team-up video at one point with those guys. So his power was nigh absolute, even when he was alive, it was nigh absolute. But there were still stronger individuals, and then you go into 6 Paths mode, which pretty much gave him all of those abilities. Plus, he had the Rinnegan, which gave him access to all 6 forms of chakra, can combine them at will, which is why he had those truth-seeking spheres, which were a combination of everything. He can morph those into just whatever he wanted to, stabs, whatever. When he had both eyes, he had these limbo clones, which existed in a separate dimension, kind of, but can interact with the real world. He can move. He had a technique that literally was light speed. Naruto was able to dodge it. It was like just a beam of light. I think it was like a light thing or something like that they called it, and he just went, and it was literally, it's called light. It was labeled light speed as power. Normal ninjutsu or anything like that wouldn't work on him, so he had to use like sage techniques and things along those lines, divine chakra more or less. I'm trying to think what else he had on call. Oh yeah, he eventually was able to pull off the Eternal Mange Kyo, the Eternal Tsukiyome, which basically put everyone in the world in the absolute hypnosis, or absolute Tsukiyome. I can't remember exactly the name of it. He also had an immense healing factor. Guy actually almost killed him. He even said if Guy had pushed him any further, he might have actually succeeded in killing him. But he was able to just regenerate that. Not like just immediately. Took a moment for his body to really like kick in, but afterwards, like, all right, wow, I acknowledge you. I'm gonna kill you now. So absolutely. But Madara was not without his weaknesses. He was extremely arrogant and proud, kind of an Uchiha trait. He underestimated his opponents to where Naruto and Sasuke overtook him a lot of the time, too. And eventually, he thought himself absolute, but then Kaguya reemerged out of him and used him as a host. And then anyone who could just physically overpower him obviously would beat him as well, showing Guy doing that. Guy physically overpowered him and just, was beating the hell out of him. Which, another moment of a character just being completely beast. Which, I'm glad it wasn't Midnight Moth, as I was reading it originally described. It was like Midnight Elephant and then like Dragon, and it was literally warping space with physicality, but I digress. Barsalino is basically an admiral in One Piece. He's one of the technical villains. He describe. I'm not going to go much into his personality. Well, I'll go into his personality a little bit because it will probably play a factor. Let's see here now. Appearance. Can I get a personality here? They usually get personality because I got the wiki up right now because I don't follow. Of all the mangas and stuff like I have followed, One Piece honestly isn't one I could ever get. I will try at some point to actually sit down and either read or watch One Piece. I hear the manga's better, but whatever. Or at least I hear the Japanese version is better than the dub. Regardless, as a Marine Admiral, he has at least above average leadership and coordination skills. As an Admiral, he has command over 1,000 of the soldiers, ranked lower than him. If we use this as a scenario, which I think we will, Madara's going to just cleave through all those subordinates, and then he's going to get into the fray. His status is being second highest within the entire Marine organization, just below Fleet Admiral Sakazuki. He has the power to initiate a buster call on island he deems a threat, as well as grant a lower-ranking government agent, such as Admiral of the Authority. Anyway, his presence is enough to cause a panic in a lot of places. Madara wouldn't feel that way. He is one of the most powerful fighters within the world government and the Marines. Even as a vice admiral, he was extremely strong, defeating Arlong quickly. I don't know who Arlong is. Well, who's Arlong? Maybe I'll actually recognize this character. Because I do recognize characters from One Piece. That's not to say I don't know characters. Okay, I do recognize that character. And I'm guessing he's pretty strong. Anyway, physical ability. One of the physically strongest fighters within the world government. He possesses immense physical strength. That's something I've noticed about the One Piece characters, is that physically speaking, their physicality is off the charts compared to other humans, other animes. And also physical stature too, even though they're still considered humans technically. He's capable of fighting Rayleigh and Whitebeard equally, despite their hockey abilities. Kizaru got struck by a hockey-wielding Marco and sustained little damage with a physical blow. Again, hockey is a way to enhance your physical ability, so this is showing testament to his physical ability. His power scaling places him comparable to Eniku, who managed to deflect blows from Whitebeard with difficulty. Whitebeard was considered one of the strongest characters, if not the strongest character, for some time in the series. He is also extremely acute hearing, being able to hear actively underwater before the Whitebeard War began. Fascinating, seeing as Devil Fruit users have an issue with water. He possesses incredible physical durability as well, shown when he was kicked into the ground by Marco without receiving a scratch. The greatest aspect of his physical ability is his immense speed and extraordinary reflexes, which is further enhanced by the light-based powers of the Pika Pika no Mi. That was it. It makes him immensely dangerous in speed combat, as shown in Marineford. He easily intercepted and overwhelmed Luffy's Gear's second enhanced speed, which could easily keep up with two Rokushu Masters, which I'm guessing is all reflexive and things along those lines. Anyway, moving on to proficient in leg. His combat style involves legs and things, leg kicking and things along those lines. His power is the Pika Pika no Mi, meaning the glimmer or light Logia fruit. Grants the power of the elements of light. As a Logia user, he is able to let objects pass right through him and reconstruct his body from energy particles. He is capable of moving and attacking at the speed of light, and all his attack base are based on the element of light, such as firing energy blasts from his fingertips or feet. With extreme accuracy and precision, his power is very destructive, causing huge explosions, can easily destroy buildings. He also has the ability to reflect himself, essentially moving from one location to the next at the speed of light. Due to this fruit's power, it is possible he's the fastest man in the world. He also has great accuracy and precision in firing laser beams of light, as shown when he shot and destroyed the key to Ace's shackles, once it was still in Luffy's hands at a far distance. He can also make a powerful energy sword of pure light named Ama no Murakumo, which can stand up to extremely powerful Haki Blast-based attacks, which are actually a weakness of Logia users. It is stated that he possesses Haki, so with a rank above Vice Admiral, he can use that ability. He has been seen using Bushuko Haki to negate Whitebeard's attempt to destroy the execution platform. Which one is that? Haki Bushoku Haki is that the one where you toughen allows users to create a spirit to use their spirit to create an essence of invisible armor around them. Okay, that's the one. That's the armament hockey then. Just use the damn see, that I will at least appreciate. It's like, just say the English dub, because that's easier. Armament hockey, Conqueror's hockey, and oh crap, Perception hockey, I think it was. He's also a skilled swordsman as well. So, point being, how does this break down? Well, like I said, let's say the Madara has been running amok in the Grand Line, which is the world of One Piece, and is and as the admiral, he's sent guys there at Madara's cleaving throne with his war fan. So right now we're using human Madara. Now he goes down, he greets himself, he kind of talks copy to him. Madara doesn't give a rat's ass. Fires, fireball jutsu or just a giant flame jutsu, and he just bypasses him. Madara gets kicked square in the face, like, what? And then he's got his Sharingan on, and while he can perceive his movements, he realizes this guy is moving at the speed of light. So for a while, Madara is just on the defense. He's trying to avoid. His reflexes are great, but they're not light speed reflexes in human form. So now he's kind of on the back end here, doing the best he block. He gets a lucky block in, because I'm sure the arrogance of this guy, of Barsalino, gets in the way, and he's able to grab his foot, and he just brings the warpan down, cleaves right through him, but he just sees he phases right through. He's like, sorry, my ability is light, so unless you can do something that hurts light, I don't think you can do anything. And all of a sudden, the chakra just emits from him and just goes into Susanoo mode. It's like, let's you dodge this. This brings the meter down, and Barcelina's is like, well, that's impressive. Okay, it's like, sorry, no can-do. Tries to go through Susanoo, but quickly realizes, like, I can't get through this thing, but I'm light, and light can penetrate that. Yeah, but unfortunately, your light can't penetrate my chakra, which was demonstrated, by the way. That actually is see, that's a thing with that kind of chakra, is that was demonstrated by Sasuke, where he was actually able to block out the light from the eternal Tsukuyomi. I'm assuming that's what it was called. I believe that's what it was called, if I remember correctly. So that's the thing, that like the chakra of Susanoo can block out certain things. So I believe it would block out the light of his techniques and attack, and would prevent him from actually getting inside the Susanoo. Now the Susanoo is able to use its chakra to actually, attack him and things along those lines, but it's not going to hit him is the problem. He's too fast for that. So he goes into full-on Susanoo mode, which now even he's like, well, I don't think I can really take that on, but, you can't hit me either. And then, he tries to basically uses his hockey to try to get through it, but he can't get through it. All the while, I imagine Madara will be trying to place his bets on one particular thing to do. And that would be the minute he can get eye-to-eye contact with this guy. And I think the way these guys are, especially with the way Barcelona acts, because I've seen I've seen clips of One Piece. I've sat and watched a couple episodes, never could get into it. I've read a few chapters, but more or less I've seen a lot of clips of it online. I can see how this character acts, and he would be one of those guys to carry a conversation, act cheeky during a fight, and maybe just, square off. It's like, oh, what are you going to do? It's like, can't hit me, I can hit you. Eventually, you're going to tire up. I just have to wait. And it's like, is that right? And all of a sudden, he feels like his arms is like, what are you doing? What are you doing, my arm? What's going on? And then, basically, he'd have to get him, Barsalino, in a genjutsu is what he'd have to do. He'd have to basically just knock him out. Now, Barsalino, being an admiral, being a tough combatant, would probably have a strong amount of willpower. Would it be strong enough to overcome an eternal Mangekyo genjutsu? I don't think it would be. I don't think. I mean, I'm sure he's got a solid willpower, but this is Madara, who is like a force of nature in many ways, and who has a hatred and will that even surpassed a deity like the Kyuubi, who I don't think Barcelona could defeat either. Granted, I don't think the Kyuubi could be. Barcelona is a very tricky fighter because he can turn into light. But if he gets him in a genjutsu, then he can just wait him out and basically kill him when he has to remain solid. Because eventually he wouldn't be focusing on that. There's nothing that says that he can do that like Crocodile can, he can go reflexively into that light form. So ultimately, yes, I do think Madara would take the fight, but only because he has the ability to put someone in an illusion, in a genjutsu. And because of that, against human Madara, I give the fight to Madara, but I'm only going to give it about a 60. I've been getting a lot of 60-40s lately, but 60-40, because ultimately he's got a lot of chocolate, but even he would get tired out eventually. I don't think Barsalino has that same problem. So eventually, Barsalino would just tire him out, and he would just get in the knockout or killing blow. Now, going up against God Madara, now you have someone who can actually throw attacks at the speed of light, who has regeneration that Barsalino just doesn't have, who's got durability, physicality, and techniques Barsalino doesn't have. Barsalino gets placed in a much worse scenario there, where he would still be hard to catch. Madara would actually be able to throw a attack that is the same speed as him. So now it's a matter of actually being able to dodge it. And I think that would be the problem. I think that'd be something that he would not expect, someone to be as fast as him, which means he could possibly lose his head right there. Fortunately, his reflexes seem to be also on par with that, also be really heightened to match his Devil Fruit. So while it wouldn't kill him, he would be all of a sudden like scared. He'd be really shocked. Be like, he's just as fast as I am. What the shit? And then just gets a nice firm gash on his face. Holy sh! What? Because let's be clear too, a light speed energy based attack would still hurt him in light form. Let's not mince words about it. So even in light form, you're like, the fuck? And then and another thing that'd be the problem is the limbo clones. The limbo clones he can't perceive. Sasuke could see them. Naruto could sense them, given the nature of their abilities. Barsalino doesn't, except for maybe some just pure on-the-field instinct. He has no way of sensing or seeing these things, which means they would ultimately probably be his undoing, and Madara would just eventually get another light fang on him and just take his head off. So ultimately, I don't see Barsalino taking out God Madara, Six Sage Madara, at all. So I would give that one 100, because Madara's also got regeneration that Barsalino doesn't have. So even any attack that Barsalino does hit on Madara, which isn't chakra based, so it could still hurt him, wouldn't matter in the long term. Ultimately, yeah, Madara's going to win that fight pretty whole-handedly. Now, is there a way he could beat him? Sure, if he hits him in the head, I imagine. But again, he's got reflexes that could match that as well. His reflexes at that point were on par with that of like Naruto's, who could dodge light speed attacks. So ultimately, Madara could keep up with him at that point. Not physically hurt him a lot, except with energy-based attacks, particularly I think it's like Light Fang or something like that, Piercing Light Fang. I just had Madara up there. Actually, before I end this, I am gonna find out what the name of that technique was. Madara Uchiha. What was the name of your technique? What was it, strange man? Let's see. The name of that technique. And you know what? I'll probably be able to find out that Eternal. Was it the Eternal Tsukuyomi? Let's see here now. Jutsu. It was 6 pats. Okay, 6 pats. Where was it? Summoning Sage Art. Light Dispatchment? Was that it? Storm Release, Sage Art, Storm Release, Light Fang. I'm pretty sure that was it. Hold on, let me double check that real quick. Yes, that was what it was. It was like a purple light shot out of his mouth, and it's said to be light speed. And what was the name of that damn Eternal manga? Sure, okay, hold on. If I only had a brain. Infinite Tsukuyomi. How can I forget? Oh, Eternal, Infinite. Get off my back. Yeah, I can't remember everything. It's been a long time since I read or watched Naruto. Anywho, I digress. But that's what I thought on this fight. I think human Madara would have a much more difficult time at Barsalino. But I think he'd still win just given the fact he has the Genjutsu out. I think Six Sage Madara would wholeheartedly beat him, but there's like a 10% chance where Barsalino could get like shoot him through the head or something like that. But I digress. So thank you for watching, though. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. As those who want to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll get to it at some point. Ideas for who would win, Star Wars, Superhero Magic, what if, anything I do on this channel. Put that in the comments below as well. I'll get to that at some point. I'll be back actually a little later with a Magic video because we got PAX West, I believe, going on. It's going on this weekend, but we do have some stuff coming out for it's not Return to Ravnica, it's Guilds of Ravnica coming out in October. And I got that pre-release weekend off, so me and Carrie doing a Guilds of Ravnica pre-release. Gonna be fun times. So we're going to, so I'm gonna be going over that. But there was a card spoiled already, but we're gonna be having more in probably about 10 or 15 minutes, supposedly. So I'm just gonna watch that entire thing, and then I'm going to give my take on that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you.